everyone. Okay, we started recording. My name is Nas Jafari. I'm the founder and managing director of Future Charging Solutions, and I'm thrilled to have you all here with me today. I've got with me John from SMAPI, our lovely guest. Thank you so much, John, for accepting. We will be going through exciting things about SMAPI at the end of the session, and then you can ask any question you've got from John. So just before we get started, let's quickly walk you through what will be covered today. We will begin with the very short introduction of our service, Future Charging Solution, who we are, what we do. Then we will be going through some of the consideration for EV charging, and I just put that together from the question that we are being asked from our clients, and we thought let's put it together and just go through for those of you that you haven't had a chance to read much about EV charging, so it helps you to start your investigation or search. Then we go through a case study. Seb, our construction manager, will be sharing a real case study with you and going through the challenges that we resolved through that practice. From there, we'll move into how to choose the best option for your building. This is technical and also financial, how to deal with it and what's out there for you to consider. Then we are talking about smart energy management, a great product and a service that SMAPI provides, and the services with us. And we go through how that can help really saving you thousands of dollars for the buildings and other benefits of the program. Our vision really in Future Charging Solution is pretty simple. We just want to help lead the way in EV charging and build a future where we can transport safely and clean. Our mission is really to make EV easier for everyone, providing reliable and efficient way of using it. And because we are independent, we're not locked into anyone's brands or supplier. We can really design the right and best solution which works for you and your site. Our main services are really around EV charging. We do everything EV charging related. We provide end-to-end EV charging solution, which is from the start, consultation, site visit, feasibility assessment, designing the solution, supplying the chargers, installation and commissioning, and even services. We also help the buildings with the committee members' questions and approval process. If they have any, they need us in any meeting, they need us to answer any question, we'll do that free of charge until we can get you there to get it installed and up and running. On top of that, we manage charging stations where the clients don't want to get involved in day-to-day. This is mostly for service stations, shopping centers, or any commercial spaces. We also added on a new service, a smart energy management, because we see now that a lot of buildings that never really had a chance to go through detail of how to monitor the usage and how to save money. We are adding that to a service as well, and that's another reason why we've invited John to come here with us and share a case study. The services that we provide is for existing buildings like the strata apartments that you are, I'm guessing most of you are here today for that purpose. We also service the hospitalities, venues, hotels, shopping centers, and new constructions. We work with big developers like Revolve and a couple others when it comes to EV charging. And some of the strata managers we work with, I will just sort of put the link here. Okay, and this slide, I just want to give you a quick sense of our team here at Future Charging Solutions. We are a team of about 15 staff, electricians, subcontractors working together. While you might not really meet everyone, these are the people you're mostly likely to come in contact with. Later today, Seb, our construction manager, will talk through the case study with you and highlight those key designs and features. We've got Shap, our operation coordinator, who will be also monitoring the chat today. You might be talking to her about starting the project for your building. Please feel free to put your questions in Q&A in chat, and we can get through them when we get to the live part at the end. I also want to thank our lovely Alex, our marketing lead, who put a lot of effort into this event to happen. Thank you. Okay, so what are the consideration when it comes to EV charging? So these are just really the I guess snip of what you need to look for. Every of these topics can go pages and pages, but I just wanted to give you a few notes to start thinking about those things that you need to care when it comes to EV charging for apartments. The first one is really what's driving it, and this is coming from growing adoption of EVs. In fact, not sure if you know that EV sale jumped 17% in the last 12 months alone, and New South Wales government has a target of 30% of EV sale by 2027. Looking at it, it's basically one year ahead. So we really all want to be ready for those that main milestone. The second thing is really the approval process. So a lot of people ask question about like our committee is approving this or our committee is asking for that. EV charger is really in New South Wales classified as sustainability infrastructure. This is under 2021 law changes. That means installation only requires an ordinary resolution. A simple majority of more than 50% of vote in a general meeting. So strata committee cannot really approve or disapprove EV charging unless they're authorized by owner corporation. So that's the main thing you want to find out when you're talking about the committee. What is their authority? What's the arrangement in your building? There is a specific legislation around safety for EV charging, such as ABCB, which is Australian Building Code Board, and also Fire and Rescue New South Wales. They've done a lot of work in this space. They've got recommendations. And then we've got NCC, which is for new building, and it talks about the provision for EV charging. EV chargers must be installed by licensed electricians, although when it comes to commissioning, it doesn't mean that every electrician can commission. It's a completely different role, so you want to make sure that whoever is installing it, they have completely understanding of the billing system, commissioning of load management, and all of that. The key consideration, fire and electrical safety. For some buildings, we have to really look after that part, depending on the building, but there are legislations around that. How we make sure that EV charging is done in fair way. We often get this question from strata managers or committee members. There are various billing systems, so you don't need to worry about it. There are quite established methods, and there are softwares, and there are some charges that you don't need even to do the software, depending on where it is. They can have tap and go system on it. So we'll talk about the billing system a little bit later in the case study. There's also some technical consideration. You have to know that you can't install every EV chargers in the apartment building. They have to be smart chargers, open protocol, which we will go through that a little bit later as well. If in some cases, if the residents want to draw electricity from the power, there's some consideration for that as well that I can explain a little bit later. And last, we will be talking about finance support, and this will be after case study, so I can just like show you a few details about that, so you can see if any of that resonates with you. I'm just going to hand over to Seb, and Seb, if you're okay, I still run the presentation, so you can tell me whenever you want me to go to the next slide.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Seb Aktoi. I'm the construction manager in Future Charging. Thanks for attending this webinar. Let's start.
Thank you.
The case study we have is for a relatively old building in Sydney, Sydney, close to the CBD. It was an 11 apartment and basement, around 45 years old. The reason I chose this specific building because that was we can relate to worst case scenario for implementing EV charging in a building, and that one floor car park was shared between that these 11 apartment, and every apartment had two car parking bays. Next, please. Uh, the project started from a feasibility assessment. Based on the feasibility assessment, we noticed the building electrical infrastructure does not have sufficient capacity for significant private or shared charging. For this specific reason, we needed to implement dynamic load management, which I explain what dynamic load management do. Um, because they didn't have enough power, they got a quotation from Osgrid to upgrade the infrastructure and incoming power to the building. And that was around 500,000 cost to the building. And it was significantly high for just the 11 apartment. Imagine probably every apartment needed to pay around 50K just to uh, upgrading the infrastructure. We proposed and I explained dynamic load management, how we overcome with this situation to not pay that 500K. We proposed three options to the client. I start from option three. Option three was just go light, installed a dual shared charger for in a visitor car park, which could be used as a shared charging by the resident. The second option was providing EV charging backbone to private parking just by installing board and dynamic load management, uh, the, which cost around 20, which the quote we provided was around 26,000. And the voting from that board to the parking base was by the resident in this option. The last option was providing EV charging to each private parking bay, including entire wiring, everything to the car. And that cost was around $41,000. And that was the that was the option chosen by the client, meaning that we implemented the dynamic load management. We installed the board and we installed the cabling from board to every single car park, as well as the cable tray and other equipment required for that. Next, please. Load management, the which is uh, which is the main focus in this building. Um, Generally, and I think that's the case in maybe 90% of buildings, in even new built buildings in New South Wales, they don't have enough power for EV charging for every single car park. The solution for that is implementing DLM, or dynamic load management. DLM is a combination of hardware and software which continuously monitors real-time electricity uses of the entire building, and automatically calculate the surplus electricity available at any given time, and dynamically allocate this excess capacity to EV charging. For example, in the morning you have plenty of power. You get maybe 100 amp or 150 amp. It get distributed between the charge, and then at night you have lights on and air conditioning on, and probably there is half of that capacity available at the building. This system automatically ramped on EV charging and distribute what available in the building for EV charging. The speed of charging probably the sort of drops, but this system prevent overloading of the building infrastructure. And also, with this system, we avoid upgrading the infrastructure for the building. Next, please. Um, Also, in this specific case, because the power or electricity supply to EV charging was from the common area, meaning that that part that the strata pays, the building needed a billing system for EV charging in order to calculate the energy or electricity consumption and bill it to the users. Mm, there is we install a billing software which automatically calculates the usage of the electricity usage and automatically charge it to the credit card of each user, meaning that the strata doesn't need to get involved in nitty-gritty of billing and invoicing it to the resident. Next, with project completion. At the project completion, we provide comprehensive documents for the strata. Um, the first one is operation and maintenance manual, which outline all the equipments, the model number, the warranty period, the contact detail for the warranty, and including the manufacturer, as well as other information around the hardware we use. A list of compatible charger device can be integrated with the DLM because DLM is a system needs to talk to all charge. They need to talk in a specific language, which we call it OCCP 1.6 or 2. Uh, we need to ensure that any charger will be installed in this system is able to talk to DLM system, and we provide a list of that, which is generally 2 or 3 charge that it's tested with that DLM, and we know it works. And in the future, resident that want to implement that install that charger, they can choose from that list and install themselves. We also provide the 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever it takes, a staff training for the building committee to know how this system work, and early troubleshooting if something goes wrong, what to do. And also any installation we do is under 52 weeks or 1 year warranty, and we do regular maintenance during that period. Next slide, please. That's a timeline for the project. Generally, it's a start from feasibility assessment report, which we attend the site and we assess the building electrical infrastructure, and we propose the suitable option based on that. Then is engagement in this specific project, because there was a New South Wales grant. There was a grant application, which currently is not available. Then after engagement, the project starts, which is generally takes a month or 5 weeks to design the system and also start the procurement. And the project completion from a start to implementation generally takes between 4 to 6 weeks, and 2 weeks after that is for commissioning and integration of DLM. In total, from engagement to completion, it will take between 2 months or 3 months. And I think that's the last one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks, Seth. If you have any question about it, please put it in the chat and we can go through it in the Q&A. This is my favorite part now, how to choose the best solution. So we try to put it really in a simple page so you can relate to it. But the most important thing to keep in mind when it comes to EV charging is that there is no one size fit all answers. It depends really on the building, how many people are likely to need charging, what your current electrical capacity is, and how much you want to really plan ahead for the future demand. Because the idea is really to pick a solution that works well for you today, for the need of the building and the residents today, but can also grow with you as more residents switch to EV. The first option is the level 2 backbone, just the example that Seb explained, and we have a lot of clients going for that. depending on where the building was and how many EV chargers were in the building, EV drivers were in the building. The second option is for situations when there are only a few residents that want the charger, and because the meter is at the same level as the car park, the power can be drawn directly from their individual meters. And we had a couple of those cases as well, which worked great, and there is no involvement of the committee. Definitely, you still need to have approval, but at least the engagement is much easier. Where there is not enough interest among the residents and you can't really draw power from the individuals, there is another option, which is having the shared charges in a common area. It's also great when you're looking at it as an entry level into EV charging. So installing one or two shared charges in the visitor car park and see how it goes. And as more residents drive EV, then you probably can go to scale it up and go to individuals' car park. And the price wise, that's also definitely a much lower price range as well. There is also some cases where there is not enough power in the building and there is not enough spaces for the common area charges, which is pretty common when it comes to some of the individual suburbs like CBD or Surrey Hill, like areas that they don't have enough car park. And for that, there is another kind of new solution as well. Level one charging backbone options. Price wise, it's cheaper, it's more accessible, but it's slow charging. If you want to know more about that, please let me know and we can definitely talk through that option as well. When comes again, the other one is the solution when it comes to the price, how you want to finance it. When we're putting in proper EV charging infrastructure, very often the challenge can be the upfront cost. We know that already, we hear that a lot. But the thing you've got to remember is the infrastructure is going to be used for a very long time. You need to think about it like a plumbing, that's been installed for your building. Yes, it's costly, but it's going to stay there. It's part of the asset of the building. EV charger or EV charging backbone, EV chargers are basically the same. Let's say still the capital is a problem. There's no money left. Can you finance it? Yes. EV charging, as you know, it's now part of the green and sustainability, and we can help you with financing it with the commercial loans. But if you want to really see what happens in real case study, what I've done is I've taken the example that Sep just shared and I just run it through some numbers to see what it really means when you talk about financing the option. With this example, let's say we go for a loan 3 to 5 years, 10% interest rate. I did the calculations. The monthly payment for this option, this investment, is around 800 to say $1,300 per month. Let's break it down to even further and go with 11 apartments and see how much is each apartment's share. It comes really to $20 to $30 per week for this proper EV charging infrastructure. So the recent the real estate sale shows that the apartments with the EV charging, they sell 3 to 5% more when it comes to the sale market. And for this particular apartment we were talking about, it comes to something between 50 to 70K. Beyond this, EV charging can also generate revenue for the building. Sep just showed the billing system. It really depends on how committee wants to see it. If, say, the money is used from the pool and you're wanting to look at how this investment will pay off the building, you can set up 20 to 30 cents more for the kilowatt use, and you can return this money within that 3 to 5 years period. So again, it can pay it off. It's definitely will pay it off much sooner than solar system if you have any of those in place. But let's say that's still not an option, and you really want to see if there is any other things available. Yes, we do have CAS model, which is charging as a service. We also do a profit sharing model where we are covering part of the cost, and then the building is covering another part. There's always a way to get EV charging in place. Does rental system as well, mainly for commercial spaces, where they're talking about, not having ownership and tax deductible payment. Again, if you want to know more about that, let me know, and we can definitely discuss those. So now I'm just going to hand over to our lovely guest, John. Smappy, great product, a European brand. So probably John can talk about it. I've just got the photos of Smappy here. Again, if you want to know more about Smappy, please get in touch. The Smappy has a great product now for smart energy management, which I asked John, lovely John, to talk about it today. And we started using it for a couple of buildings and helped really buildings with how it works. Thanks, John. I think I can probably run the presentation for you. And if you're ready.
Thanks, Naz and Seth
Yeah.
and the entire Future Charging team. And thank you for allowing me to talk to you guys. Smappy we started in 2012 as an energy monitoring company based in Europe. What we do at its core, and what energy monitoring does, is it in real time looks at the data and tells you where your power is going. I've got a business case coming up, but the idea behind it is if you know where your power is and where it's being used or not used, if that makes sense, you can make real decisions as a committee moving forward. And those can actually generally come out to be some pretty big savings. Do you want to go to the next slide, please? So the idea is, give you an idea, sorry, one of the projects we worked on was Electrify 2515, running energy monitoring devices. They've got 468 houses that are being electrified and being taken off gas. We were selected by the project and ARENA as one of the energy monitoring solutions. And the idea behind that was basically, and again, from a housing point of view, no one really knows where their power is going. So the idea was to they're getting grants basically to be able to put solar on there. So knowing how much power you're going through, when you're going through it, allows you to size the solar correctly. So you're not overspending and you're not underutilizing your roof space as well. So the engagement from there, and globally, I think there's now 68 suburbs are looking at rolling programs like this out in conjunction with the federal government. And they're also investigating or rolling some of this stuff out into high-rise buildings as well. So keep an eye out if you're looking at it. There could be something coming up hopefully in 2026 in reference to running some trials. What I really wanted to talk about was a business case, and this business case, believe it or not, is still ongoing. So this is what it started with. So we installed the energy monitoring. The building, to give you an idea, has roughly a $20,000 spend on electricity per annum on the common area. It's a 15-story building. It's 42 years old, has 4 separate car parks in different ends of the building. Now, as part of the committee, they wanted to look at where their power was going and obviously try and make some changes where possible. Now, what ended up as more of a let's have a look at what's going on, ended up being, for the committee, a very major project, and they're ongoing with this as well. So it's actually gotten a lot further down the track than just this slide. So to give you an idea, what happened was we monitor from a sub-circuit or the circuit level, so on your switchboard. So on the switchboard, we can tell just how much. So on this particular site, we've got a stairwell on the western side and on the eastern side. So we could monitor that and see just how much power was being consumed by those stairwells. Now, the lights and the fire stairs were on 24/7. And we're going through, as you can tell, a lot of power. What the committee ended up doing was installing LED lighting and also sensor lighting. So they went to the minimum standard under the fire regulations, but basically 99% of the lights are off and only come on when you walk into the stairwell. By doing that, the yearly saving was about $3,500. Now, what's funny about that was the committee not 2 years ago was presented by a member to do this, and it was actually turned down at the committee because there was no data to make an educated decision on how to save money. So they just looked at the $12,000 spend and went, no, it's not worth it. Not realizing that the fluoro lights were going through $3,000 per annum. On top of that, they also went out, they had LED lighting in every floor, and we could monitor the floor level. So 1 to 5, 6 to 10, and 11 to 15. The LED lights, again, were on 24/7 in the hallways. What they did is they left one light on in the above the elevator and turned all the other lights off. So when you walk past them, they would turn on, or as you walk towards them, they'd turn on. Right. So still completely safe. You could still see everything at night in the hallways, but they weren't on during the day when it wasn't required, more importantly. That cost to the building was about $1,800, and the return on investment, because the lights were already all installed, was just over a year. So knowing where your power is going and what it's actually physically costing you allows you to make business decisions moving forward to save some money. So if you'd like to go to the next one, please. So that's the payback. We didn't put in, again, this is an ongoing business case. The committee is actually very proactive, and there's a lot more which we'll be able to present in the next probably 2 months as well. But to give you an idea, the fire stairwell payback was 3.13 years. Over 20 years after the initial investment is $54,000 back to the committee. Now, I don't know too many committees that wouldn't like some money back. On top of that, you take in the staircases as well, and they're reaching about $60,000 plus over 20 years. Now, I wanted to add something that's not in the slide. The building had to do some waterproofing on the roof. Now, they were already monitoring the solar panels. The solar panels are only 12 years old, for example. Not one person recommended keeping the solar panels. So they went out, they got quotes. It was $38,000 to replace the solar panels because they had to waterproof the roof. By doing the monitoring of the solar, they found out that the panels are actually working at over 90% already after 12 years. Yet they didn't have to spend the money to go out and replace the solar panels. The reason I sort of raise that is that's a $38,000 spend that they can push back to later on down the track. What it also does is it allows the committee to see that if the solar starts to drop over time, so over the next 5 years, they then know to put it into their capital works plan to start budgeting for new solar panels and battery. So there's some really good advantages by having energy monitoring. The other one was within the building, and this is another huge thing, was once the monitoring was put in, there was 90 kilowatts of power per day that no one could figure out where it was coming from. It doesn't sound like much, but that's a lot of money. Found out that it was actually the exhaust fans, because the bathrooms are on the inside of the building. The exhaust fans were actually using about 140 kilowatts of power, but the solar panel, because it was on the same board, was masking it. So the solar panels were actually covering up the real usage of the exhaust fans. They're now putting in what's called a variable speed drive, which will alternate the exhaust fans from 100% for 15 minutes and drop it down to 20%. And then at night, just run it at 20%. The estimated savings, they're putting in their first one on Monday, but their estimated savings is $9,000 per annum. The cost to put the fans in is $8,000. And again, theoretical. So let's take $1,000 off. But by putting those variable speed drives in, the building is going to take their electricity bill from about $20,000 per annum to well under $10,000 per annum at last year's calculation. So they had a 3-cent kilowatt price rise. So energy monitoring on buildings, it does allow you to make really educated decisions on how you can save money. And it's something that the guys at Future Charging can definitely help you out with to analyze that data. And again, as a committee, you get to see real-time value on the applications, and the committee ranges from about 54 to 70 something in this particular building. They love the app. They're on it every day. Whilst we're doing these test cases, I was actually getting phone calls going, "What's this mean? What's this mean?" And getting to understand it in a really simplistic way. So, look, there are definitely 100% value if you're wanting to look at reducing your energy bills and your consumption on electricity, and obviously opens it up and can help Future Charging with chargers as well, because there's now more available power. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Naz and their team, and I'm more than happy to help wherever I can.
Thanks, John. I always love your story. It's good that you're saying it. It's much better than what we say.
Yeah, and also all those numbers have been independently verified by a energy auditor. So yeah, it's not just somebody sort of sitting there. They've all been verified as well.
Yeah, thank you. I just stopped sharing just that I can see everyone and see if there is any question. You guys can also unmute if you want to ask, if you want to put it in the chat and start asking.
Nas, we have
I
two
can answer
questions.
the first.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Sophie.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go
Sorry.
for it. No, I was going to say the first one is definitely something that you need to answer. So I'm going to go on mute. And the second one is for Nas. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Lauren Fan, how are you, mate?
Good.
Yeah, the question from Laurent is, for this case study that I explained, would you know if there was any security upgrade done to meet fire compliance? For this specific building, no, but this is a common concern from committees in majority of the buildings. There are two things. What is compliant and what is good to have. In terms of compliance, there are specific compliance required for new buildings built after May 23, which is implemented in NCC 22, and those requirements it's already get built to the building infrastructure. One of them is EV charging needs to have a push button plan, push button electricity shut off. And also there are things about the sprinkler. That requirement is not mandatory for the existing building, but it's a nice thing to have. The committee didn't need anything for this project, but another project in North Sydney, which was a newer building, I think in that one we had around 15 apartments. Same system went through. The committee asked for a few adds on for fire safety. One of them was the push button, electricity shut off push button. We installed a electricity shut off push button next to the lift, where by pushing that push button, and it has a sign on it, and by pushing that push button, it shut the electricity to all chargers, and that's a safety option in case of fire. The other option we added in that building was integration of fire trip and fire panel to EV charging, where there is a fire trip or fire alarm going on, it automatically trips all power to EV charging. Hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, thanks, Seb.
Oops.
Second question is from William. The one is about 20 to 30 cents. Yes, that's the kilowatt charging. So that number, how much it is, it needs to be kind of approved by the committee members and like basically with the residents. And that is cost, yes, kilowatt per hour charged. And it goes back to the committee and basically sits in the pool.
I think I should be able to answer that question too. Yeah, add to what Nas said. Generally, the uh, the usual one is between 45 cent to 65 cent. This is the range strata generally comes. If you purchase, for example, 30 cent the electricity, then based on that, you can add that 20 or 30 cent to it to recover the cost of the charges.
Seb, can I ask you one question? Has been not asked here, but something that I come across usually when I speak to basically a lot of people that live in the apartment building is that if they decide to install EV charger, how is it going to affect the insurance on the building?
It's actually here as well. So there is another question about why. Yeah, my strata
yes,
says
it's William's
insurer.
question.
I think the first thing, to be honest, William, if you don't mind sharing their contact details so I can have a chat with them. The one thing that we see now a lot is you can't basically avoid going with EV charging. And it's been actually recently another article which says it must be as reasonably as, you know, as reasonable as possible when you're talking about EV charging. It's not like before, it's not now one of the nice thing to have. This is the way that the future goes. We've already know a couple of insurer that they are supporting EV charging, and we've already introduced them to our clients. So that's one thing we can do. Second thing is I can definitely have a chat with the insurer, because I know that a lot of them did have that problem a few years ago, but they're much less now. So I would really love to know who's the insurer. I guess, is there any other question? Like, we can unmute yourself and ask if you want to. And there's nothing in the chat, so if anyone wants to share anything. Oh, okay, I think that's good then. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I'm glad that I did the 1 hour, so everyone got now 15 minutes before you go back to your work, or whatever you do. So I really appreciate everyone. Yeah, okay, one more question. Does experience show if the price kilowatt needs to be less than the public?
Ratio.
Sep, do you have any answer?
Yes, it depends. Because the public charging depends on the capacity of the speed of the charger. For level 2 charger in the public, it's generally between 45 cent to 55 cent, and for fast charging, which is DC charging, usually it's between 60 to 70 cent, and sometimes in peak hours it goes to $1 per kilowatt. Matching or beating the public charger, you would say you go 45 to 55 cents, but you need to consider where you have charger in the building. It's more convenient than charging it in the public, and you can charge a bit more.
I'm surprised also because of the whole Marconium thing. I think if I was going to be another 4 hours, I would have had to have had a C-section.
Oh, really?
Like that with the Marconium bill.
Okay.
I think it wasn't for us, that's all. Yeah.
Okay, I hope it was you got your answer, William. Any other question?
Sorry, Seb, just to interrupt you quickly. So basically what you're saying is that another reason for installing is the convenient. So instead of traveling, that's what you put. Okay, got it. Thanks. Just wanted to clarify.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.